What's up, PV Poppers? We got an amazing episode for you today. This is Jordy Pop 83 coming at you today with a Voyager Cup. We're just gonna get in there and just see what this is all about, right? Voyager Cup is going to be the meta for the regionals. It's gonna be the meta for April, and it's actually looking pretty interesting, right? So, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna make our team? We have a complete open meta. And what we have to do is pick one Pokemon from each generation, right? So you got to pick one Kanto, one Johto, one Hoenn, one Sinnoh, and then one from the Unova, Alolan, and Galar regions. And then you get to pick a wildcard pick. But your wildcard pick has some restrictions, right? So you cannot, for your wildcard pick Azumarill, Altaria, Bastiodon, Cresselia, Deoxys Defense, Dugong's pretty good, right? With the double legacy. Gardevoir, Hypno, Ivysaur, Jellicent, Lapras, Mandibuzz, soon to be released Mandibuzz. And then you got Alolan Marowak, Medicham, Melmetal, Mew, Probopass, Registeel, Scrafty, Skarmory, Swampert, Togekiss, Tropius, Umbreon, Venusaur, Wishcash, Wigglytuff, and Swallow. So all of the top tier Pokemon you cannot double up on, quote unquote, double up on, right? That cannot be your wildcard pick, but everything else is fair game. So let's get into the meta here now. All right, so what are we looking at? We're looking at the Voyager Cup, and this is basically open meta. You have your core roles of Fairy, Grass, Anti-Grass, Anti-Flying, and Anti-Steel, right? And then, so it's broken down into those categories and then broken down by generation, okay? So we have our Fairies, and they are going to be able to kind of, do some work. But really, the only real winner out of that group is going to be something like an Azumarill. You got your grasses, right? They're going to be able to take care of your waters and your grounds, stuff like that. You got your anti-grass, take care of your grass. You got your anti-flyer to take care of your flying types. And then your anti-steel, right? Anti-steel can come in the form of a Mudboy or in the form of a fighter. And then you have your interesting generalists on the end there that we'll get into in a little bit. So your fairy types, here's what you got to work with, okay? You got your Wigglytuff and your Clefable. That's from Gen 1. Then you have Azumarill from Gen 2. You have our Gardevoir from Gen 3. You have Togekiss. Very, very hard to get Togekiss, right? You have to have a Togetic that you found in the wild that was under level 19, I think it is, 19. And then I think you got to trade to get it. So I don't see a lot of people having a Togekiss. I can't imagine. And then you have your Alolan Ninetales. Amazing pick. As you can see, pretty much all of the fairies are on the restricted list, right? Probably for good reason. But when it comes down to is that Azumarill is going to be the fairy to choose. So what does that mean for the rest of your picks? That means that Gen 2 is going to be something that you can look at for your wild card pick, because there is a wild card pick in there that we are going to take a look at in a second. But Azumarill is probably going to be on pretty much everybody's team. I would venture to say almost everybody's team is going to have an Azumarill. So let's look into these grasses here. Let's see when this switches over. But Wigglytuff could also be a nice pick. Let's take a look at the grasses though. So if we are going to pick Azumarill as our fairy, right? We're going to need a grass type to take care of the other Azumarills. This is going to be crucial to have a grass type that's going to be able to rip through an Azumarill. I almost think that that Victory Bell would be awesome, or a Venusaur with Razor Leaf would be kind of interesting. But most people are going to run Vine Whip, right? That's going to be the safest pick, and especially because with Vine Whip, you can get to Sludge Bomb super quick, and then you're able to take out the other grass types as well. So that could be, the deciding factor, I guess you would say, for Venusaur. is kind of just the fact that it can take out the other grasses as well as take out Azumarill, as well as handle, some of the other stuff that might come in that you can poison down or use the superior damage output of Frenzy Plant to really do work. All right, so we have Venusaur, Ivysaur, Victory Bell in Gen 1. In Gen 2, we have Bailey, Meganium, and Blossom. Blossom is obviously going to be running Razor Leaf, going to be doing super damage output. Tropius, Shiftry, Ludicolo, and Lanoon. Lanoon can be a very cool safe switch, so keep that in mind. We also have Grottle and Torterra, and then Serperior and Ferrothorn. I don't know if any of those down there are really going to be on anybody's team, to be honest with you. On the anti-grass side, Charizard's looking pretty good. Really, actually pretty good. Haunter as well, looking pretty good. And then we have Drapion and Golbat. Max, stop it. Okay, and then also, sorry, my dog was being a weirdo. Then, Gen 2, we got Skarmory, right? Mantine. This is the wild card pick I was talking about earlier. Mantine can take out almost the entire top meta, Azumarill, Altaria, Bastiodon. Just take a look into Mantine. We'll be doing a deep dive into Mantine coming up very soon. And then you have Noctowl, Lugia, Altaria, and Tropius again in the anti-grass, because Tropius has Razor Leaf as well as Air Slash, so it can play both roles, the flyer and the grass. The grass and the anti-grass roles. Then you have Castform, Sunny, and Torkoal, Drifblim with Icy Wind. You have Gliscor and Gligar with their Night Slash and Fury Cutter. And then you also have Skuntank. Alolan Marowak, you guys, is going to be really good. Zuelos, Mandibuzz, and Alolan Muck is going to finish off that category. All right, anti-flying now. Anti-flying, we got Dugong, Lapras, Cloyster, and Magneton in the Gen 1 category. Lapras with Ice Shard, Surf, and Skull Bash is a champion. If you have double Legacy Dugong, just amen to you. That's awesome. Use it. Just use it. For sure, use it. Find your grass somewhere else, right? And just maybe even go for Victory Bell for a wild card grass pick. But definitely use your Dugong if you have double Legacy. And then you have Cloyster and Magneton, and then you have Steelix and Lantern in Gen 2. You have Registeel, which is really good, and then the other Regis in Relicanth in Gen 3. Registeel is another really good pick. But if you pick that one out of Gen 3, you cannot pick Altaria, so that's a trade-off. Gen 3 is actually pretty stacked real tight with really good Pokemon, as you'll see in the next category. And then for Gen 4, we have Bastiodon, Probopass, Bronzong, and I can't tell what that one is. You can tell what that is. And then Melmetal, Alolan Raichu, Galvantula, and Stunfisk. Stunfisk is going to be another one of those new Pokemon that's going to be coming out soon. All right, Anti-Steel Mudboy edition, right? Gen 1, the only Anti-Steel in the Mudboy category would be Blastoise, and he's just water. He's not water and ground type. Then Gen 2, we have Quagsire, could be a nice wild card pick. Also Lantern in the water role instead of the electric role in this instance. Also we have Politoed and Suicune. Next up is Swampert, Wishcash, Flygon, and Water Castform. Swampert and Wishcash, right? So in Gen 3, all restricted, it's Altaria, Registeel, Swampert, Wishcash, and Tropius. You can only pick one of those. Yikes, this is going to be really tough, you guys. It's going to be really tough. Then we got Gastrodon and the Empoleon crew, right? Prinlup and Empoleon. Then you have Jellicent down there, Seismitoad, Alomomola, and Stunfisk on the water side that time. So, yeah, you got some good anti-steal picks in there. Swampert and Wishcash are going to be awesome. So, it's going to be tough to decide what to do in this scenario. Gen 3 is stacked. And as you can see, it's even stacked farther because now we'll start at the top, but we'll work our way down. Gen 1 fighters, right? You got Poliwrath. Poliwrath's going to be awesome. That's definitely a top tier choice right there. Machamp and Primeape. Then we have our Hitmontop and Heracross. I'm not a big fan of Heracross personally. It's kind of like the Haunter of fighters. Kind of glassy, huge, really high attack, really high damage output. I don't personally like it. Deoxys Defense and Medicham rather. And then you have Vigoroth and Blaziken down there. So these are all really, really awesome picks in Gen 3, as you can see. Very stacked, really, really stacked high. Next category, fighting, Gen 4. You got Toxicroak. You guys, look into Toxicroak, right? For sure. It's got the fighting and the ground moves, plus it has Sludge Bomb to take care of the grass types. Toxicroak is going to be on some people's teams. I think that's Gallade and Lucario, and then Scrafty and Escavalier, right? Scrafty is interesting, right? It has Snarl and it has Counter. It has Power Up Punch and it has Foul Play. And I'm not sure what the other move is for it, but Scrafty could be very interesting. All right, now on our Dark Psychics, there are no Darks in Gen 1. Gen 2 is going to be Umbreon. Umbreon with Last Resort, Snarl, Foul Play, Killer, right? I mean, it's pretty good. And then Gen 3, we have Sableye and Shiftry. Shiftry in this scenario is going to be the one with Snarl, Leaf Blade, and Foul Play. And then we got Gen 4, we're going to have our Skuntank and Gligar for Dark types. I don't know why Gliscor wouldn't be under that category too, because all the Gligar has is those Night Slashes that it's throwing out with the Fury Cutter. Gliscor has the same thing. And then as you can see down there in the slot 5, the Gen 5 through 7 category, we've got a lot of restricteds. So you got your Scrafty, you got your Zuelos, you got your Mandibuzz, and a Alolan Muck. So the Dark type category is going to be full of Generalists, and then also Pokemon that have kind of a versatile moveset that's going to allow you to hit many different things and kind of cover your butt in a way that's going to allow you to be successful, hopefully, in this crazy open meta, right? It's going to be very interesting to see how people progress through this meta, how the meta evolves. If people are crazy enough to not bring in the Azumarill, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to see how this all plays out. So if we're putting a team together, and we're going to get into the Psychics in a second, but if we're putting a team together and we're picking a Azumarill, right? And if I want to pick Mantine for my wild card, and we're going to need a Grass, and so Grass is probably going to go to Venusaur, and then we're going to need an anti-flyer, so that could probably go to like a Registeel, or more like a Bastiodon. But I already used my. Okay, so this gets tricky, doesn't it? Maybe we could use anti-flyer. Maybe we could use Alolan Raichu as our anti-flyer, and then our anti-steel we can use either Wishcash or Swampert. And then the fighter, we could bring Toxicroak. That's good. All right, Psychics. We have Hypno, we got Mew. Hypno and Mew, right? So you got Confusion, you have all your punches, right? Mew's got all the punches. And then we also have Shadow Ball. It's got a lot of moves. Hypno's got a lot of moves. It's kind of like another one of those Swiss Army knives. And then Mew, I mean, what's it running? I don't know. You know? Well, you don't know what it's running. Most likely you want it to be having Shadow Claw as its fast move. A lot of people like to run overheat on it, and that second move, psychic or both of those moves. You don't know. Jirachi as Gen 3 psychic, a steel psychic could be interesting. And then we went through another. Okay, so here's the meta simplified. Your water types, fairy types, but that's Azumarill. That's your water fairy. That's really the entire meta is really based around Azumarill being awesome, trying to counter Azumarill with grass, right? And then you know that somebody's going to come in with a flyer, so you're going to want to have your steel type to take care of your flyers, right? And then you know that somebody's going to come in with a fighter to kill your steel type, so you're going to want to come in with a flyer to take care of that, right? And then you already have your grass for your Azumarill, so your grass is going to handle the ground and the. So you could really focus on. You could pick one of either the ground or the fighter, right? Pick one of those. That's why I want to pick Toxicroak. I think Toxicroak could be a real interesting, like almost a skeleton key to unlock, both of those categories, and then allow you to put something else in another category. So that could be an interesting situation there. So let's take a look at some of these example teams. So the top team is kind of a team that looks really nice to me, actually. We have Venusaur, Azumarill, like I was talking about, with Registeel, Toxicroak, Alolan Marowak, and for the flex pick, they're choosing Quagsire. I really think Mantine is going to be awesome in this cup, but let's just go on with this, all right? So then we got another team here. We got Haunter, Azumarill, Registeel, Gallade, Seismitoad, and Shiftry. That's a spicy Spicerton right there. All right, and then Poliwrath with Mudshot, right? Mudshot and Dynamic Punch and Ice Punch. Azumarill, Tropius. I don't have a Tropius. Probopass, Alolan Muck, and Alolan Raichu. And then the last team here is Blastoise, Skarmory, Deoxys Defense, Bastiodon, Zuelos, and Meganium. Now that team looks fuego. And that Blastoise, I'm not a big fan of Blastoise, but I appreciate you guys coming around, checking out the overview of what's the name of the fucking thing? of Voyager Cup. Coming in and checking out Voyager Cup, man. Voyager Cup is going to be amazing. I love you guys so much. Sorry it's been taking so long for me to get these videos out. Life has been crazy lately. Not only is this crazy virus going on, but I had to move lately, which is even crazier. So, we're hanging in there. I hope you guys are hanging in there too. Wash your hands. Don't touch nobody. See you on the next one.